you are in the mountains, right? You need to prepare yourself. You need to know what kind of jacket you have to wear, right?
You need a check against the reality, what is really going on your production landscape.
And if middleware is not working, right, your business is not working. So that's unfortunately a big risk.
Okay, so today's roadmap for us, it will be challenges around the BTP Move in general, because we need to define what's the challenge behind in front of us, and then try to tackle it with migration scope definition, test preparation, then migration to SAP Integration Suite, and finally testing it, which is the core of our products. Yes, so we'll be going through those steps together with you. Let's start with the challenge for a BTP Move.
And I think that it's really good to start with the analogy. I hope that you will like this analogy, right? So if you think of the journey that is in front of us, right, this is very similar to the journey that you maybe sometimes plan to take during your holidays, right, where you want to reach out to the top of the mountains and you want to reach the clouds. Of course, in the summer you're not thinking about cloud integration, but these are different clouds, right? So
Clouds are clouds.
exactly. So basically, even if that's the mountain walking, right, you need to prepare yourself for that. So you have to be in a good shape and good condition, right? And even if you prepare from the, let's say, physical point of view, right, there are still many different paths to reach out to the same mountain and top of the mountain, right? So first of all, you need to know which path to choose, and even if you will choose the right one for you, right, if maybe the easiest one, maybe the one with the beautiful sightseeing views, right? It's up to you. But even if you will decide for the specific path, right, there are still some challenges that you will encounter during this trip, and you have to somehow overcome them.
So we know that the common part of those migration projects are that the testing, according to Gartner research, is 65% of the time that needs to be adapted. Yeah, and it's usually, and what we see from the voting from you, we see that those testings are usually not because we test so much, but we test slow. Yeah, because we do it manually. We are dependent on internal, external resources, and we are afraid that this will slow us down. And this is putting a ton of effort into testing, because to gather everybody from all the sides and to move together is time consuming, it's challenging, and it's impacting the whole project. Yes, so we would like to show you how to automate this most time consuming activity, which is testing, especially in this integration migration project, where this should be more or less transparent for the business or your third-party applications or your B2B partners, and how you can unlock this block integration by removing those functional dependencies, yeah, both internal and external.
Yes, so that brings us actually to the first challenge, right? That yeah, I will be honest with you guys, right? This is technically driven project, so and this is technically driven project for your middleware. And if middleware is not working, right, your business is not working. So that's unfortunately a big risk. So you need to make sure that you can minimize this risk, because this kind of the migration will really have a big impact on the overall business.
So the second one is demanding time schedule and desired business outcomes, because we got two parts here. We need to move fast, but we need to deliver quality, be agile, and deliver whatever the business is requiring from us, yeah, and from these projects.
And the next thing is are actually the dependencies on the functional and business teams, right? So as you have already mentioned, right, 65% of the time for such project is pure testing. And it's I would say that the volume is so high, because first of all, there are multiple interfaces that probably you will have to migrate. But in addition to this, you will have to, in order to test it properly, you need to somehow know that what you did is working fine, right? And I would say with the old approach of testing, or the usual approach, right? You actually need to coordinate internally all the teams, and it's not easy to do this, because of course this project, like migration from PO to CPI, will not be the one project that your company will have. So your focus will be on that project, but maybe your business folks will actually have different priorities, right, on the ongoing activities.
Yeah, and those kind of projects are also quite hard to explain, yeah, to the whole company, yeah, why we are doing this. Of course, we need to be on a newer system, we need to change something, yeah, innovate, but it's really technical one.
Yeah,
And
so anyhow, but that's actually the case, right? Because usually the very first question is, why should we care? This is just the platform change, right? Nothing else. So
yes, exactly. Yeah. So the last one we've mentioned here is dependencies on external applications and your B2B and EDA partners. Yeah, because you are doing the project, they are not doing this project. Yeah. So as Mateusz said, why should they care? Yeah. So you need to involve them finally, because you will change the endpoints and you will need to reconnect the systems, but you should be 100% sure that that's everything that you are testing with them. Yeah, that like functional wise, whatever they were sending, they can still send, and whatever they are receiving from you, they will receive. And this, you're changing your platform internally in your organization will not impact the business you are doing with them.
exactly. So the I would say the engine is changing, right? But the engine should work in exactly the same way as it was working in the SAP PO. And that's I would say maybe a tricky question, right? But we are just wondering, what if you could really scale down this functional and business dependencies from the scope of such projects, right? And first of all, deliver the project successfully, right? That's the main point. Then deliver it within the time, or maybe ahead of schedule, right? So this is something we will try to show you based on our experience and based on the approach that we propose. So here, I believe, Michał, we can directly jump to the Int4 Suite, that is the core of
Yes.
this automation.
Yes, exactly. So at the core of automation is Int4 Suite, so our suite of testing solutions. But what we will focus on today is our middleware testing, so Int4 Shield, and this will of course help you to test your SAP PI to Integration Suite migration, but it's also supporting API management from SAP Web Methods, Boomi, Azure Integration Services, and more to come in the future. Yeah, so out of a full portfolio of our test services, we are focusing today on Int4 Shield, which is specifically for testing integration platforms. And migration of integration platform is one of the use cases for such a test.
It's important, because sometimes when you think of the interfaces, right, in the, let's say, end-to-end business flow, right, interfaces don't consist only of the middleware part, right? So even that's actually something that you can maybe extend later, but the good thing is that you can actually extend it based on the same functionalities, right, from the same Int4 Suite.
So now we define what's the challenge, and now we would like to show you and present in a few steps what is our approach to tackle this, and how we think using our toolset will benefit you in this journey. So let's start with the scope definition. Yeah, the definition of the scope is crucial. Yeah, because it's allow you to a proper planning and also monitoring of the progress. And if you have a good plan and you are monitoring the execution, you are securing that you will deliver in time, and that everything will be also correct finance wise. Also, scope definition can be hard to define, especially if there is no like interface master list that is really updated and prepared. And even if you got this list, I would say you need a check against the reality, what is really going on your production landscape, what interfaces are used, what is deployed there. Yeah, because you need to be sure that there is nothing missing. Yeah, that nobody forgets about adding it to the list and things like this. And what Int4 Shield can do for you, it can quickly produce the list of integrations on PI/PO system, giving you like initial input for a scope definition. Because of course we assume, and it will be true for almost all the projects, that you will not go with like everything one to one. Yeah, maybe you are redesigning some flows, maybe you are decommissioning others. So you need to be able to impact this flow, but to get this initial input, your all of your integrations that you are running now on PO is really crucial to see with what type of task you are going to in the future. So in here, we see the Int4 Suite main page. So we will be focusing on those highlighted applications. So we got the API Tester Cockpit. This is our main tool, the testing cockpit that Mateusz will show you a bit in a few minutes. We got also test case creation robot. This is the unique solution that we are delivering that will help you greatly to create a large number of test cases that will provide you with like a really value coverage, yeah, because you will have thousands of test cases, not the dozens of test cases, yeah, and then the more you create in an automatic way, the more you can test, the more you can be sure that you are really covering the whole scope. And on the bottom, we got two applications that we prepared specifically for a migration project, like from PIPO to Integration Suite. One is the PI interface import, and the other is migration cockpit. So in PI interface import, this is for defining the scope. Yeah. So you need to define your source environment. I would say in most cases it will be your production, because we would like to have, as Mateusz said, be transparent. What we have in production now in PO, we need to have this in the integration suite. So you are defining this. You have some additional fields to give some more granularity. Okay, of course, you can also run in a test run to see if everything is working and then load. What is the outcome of this import is what the migration cockpit has, yeah. And this is our like a main page for your migration project. We got all the icons you have, the count, the integration configurations. We are showing here the feasibility, if this can be automatically migrated or not. Yeah, this is of course like a educated guess here, because it will not be 100% like bulletproof. You got also migration status, so you know if something is already started, maybe it's in progress. If it's in progress, you can see maybe that, okay, already we got an iFlow for this ICO. Then you see if you got the PI test cases and if you got CPI test cases. Yeah, and of course you got some actions you can remove from scope, mark something as completed, run PO and CPI test cases, and of course in all Fiori-like applications, you got the filters so you can search the entries that you are interested in.
And so basically, out of the Int4 Shield, you can generate this list, right? But it doesn't mean that it has to be the source of truth for you, because we know that at some of the different projects, right? The project managers they prefer some maybe Power BI tools, or even having the Excel list with all the interfaces, right? But it at least allows you to have a better overview at the very first glance when you just open this cockpit, right? So this is important.
And of course, you see the button that is allowing you to export this to Excel. Yeah. So if you don't like to maintain it here, feel free. You can export it to any other tool using Excel. So what we've got out of this, yeah. So quick interface list generation will give you instant input for the scope definition, reducing effort to create this list. Yeah. So if you are planning to do this, maybe you think, okay, now we need to go to a directory, we need to find out all the icons that are there, export them somehow, and put it in some Excel. We are doing this for you, and knowing the scope, you can properly plan, maybe split it into releases or sprints, depend on how you are planning to run such project, and then you can effectively monitor during the transition. So you will see if you got the your PO test cases that you can rely on. You see if you got the CPI test cases, at what condition they are, on what interfaces, migration your team is working, which is what's complete, what's not, what's not started, and so on. Yeah, those are key inputs for any project manager.
Yeah, and actually, it takes really like several minutes to import such lists, right? So for me, that was very good experience, because in the past I had to query different APIs from PI if I wanted to have this list, right? Or even do a different kind of activities by checking the integration directory manually. And now, really, within minutes, you can generate exactly the same output without, let's say, juggling with the Excel.
Yes, so that's the benefits of creating a scope quickly.
Ideally, when you have the scope, right, you need to prepare some test cases, right? Because definitely before you will do this migration, it's good to know what should be the outcome of such migration, right? And definitely, what we can say that good test preparation really minimizes the risk of the production issues and increases the success of non-disrupted business continuity, right? So as we were describing this situation where you are in the mountains, right? You need to prepare yourself. You need to know what kind of jacket you have to wear, right? And exactly that's the reason why this analogy for me, at least personally, is really great, because that's exactly the same case. And how to prepare, how to achieve that for this kind of projects, right? There are 2 points, in our opinion, that are the most important, right? First of all, you need to make sure that you have the extensive testing coverage, and then and that you are using the reliable messages. And what does it mean, right? Probably you have hundreds or maybe sometimes thousands of SAP PO interfaces, right? So this extensive testing coverage means that you should test at least once all of the interfaces, right? On the PO. So you should gather the messages that you will later on use after you will migrate PO interface to CPA, right? And another thing is that it's not good enough to have like dummy messages, right, with maybe one variation of mapping tested, right? Because then you actually you do not minimize this risk for the business, right? Because sometimes you have different kind of mappings for the same interface, different receiver determination logic, right? So ideally, it would be good to take current messages and not to have like one or two test cases per each interface, but to do this massively, right? But of course, what you yeah, sorry, Micha, but so definitely what you can say that, okay, it's almost impossible to have the extensive testing coverage based on the reliable messages and actually do the project within the time, right? Because then you will spend like 65% on test cases creation, right? So maybe
If I can add, Matthew, one thing here is that sometimes some interfaces on your PO system, they are running like for 10 years maybe, or something like that. Yeah. So the people who developed this, or test this in the past, they are no longer there. Yeah. So there is no one to say, okay, we got this like 10 different variants. Yeah. Or this variant is not valid for over 5 years. Yeah. So as you said, that the current production messages, those are like a real truth. Yeah. Because we assume that if your production is running, then they must be good.
And also thanks for adding this, because there is another aspect, because sometimes we can see that in some of the projects that sometimes there are really like a lot of PO interfaces that have not been using for ages, right? So you are not able actually to estimate that very quickly if you are not checking those messages. And now again, tricky question, right? can we have the cake and eat the cake at the same time? And this icon of the robot, right? This is the Int4 Shield robot that yeah that actually allows you to have the cake and eat the cake. And the reason why it's possible, right, is because it actually reads the messages that you currently have in your system, right? So in this test preparation phase, right, the robot can grabs the input messages, the original input messages that are generated by EDI partners or external warehouses, and the output of that messages, right? So the input and output then will be saved by this robot as a test case, and this would allow you to define first of all really a big variation of test cases, right? Because robot can be executed in the background continuously. And let me just show you how actually to configure that and how to achieve that, right? So here you can see the test case robot transaction, right? Where again, you can choose the environment, right? So if your source of truth will be production, you are just choosing the production. If maybe you want to take messages from the test environment as the reliable messages, that's still okay, right? If you want, you can then limit that list to the particular interfaces, maybe to particular sender interfaces. This is all possible, and this is optional. And when the robot is executed, right, it can also do sort of test cases. I would say. So what it can do? It can collect all of those messages, and it can create a separate folders and assign them to the right PO interfaces that you are working on, right? So when you will run the robot can create a separate folder per interface, per, I don't know, sender and receiver combination, right? So thanks to this,
I
you
think,
know.
Mati, that the word that you were looking for is classification.
Thank you. That, yeah, and that's the reason why it's so important, because when you do the preparation, as Michał has shown you, right, you don't know how many variations you will have, right? Maybe for which interfaces the messages will be collected. And here you can just set up the robot for at the very first time, and it takes really like even if you take if you will say that it will take you several hours to complete the setup, then every single day the robot can just grab the messages that for the specific interfaces, because you can have the interfaces where messages are not sent every single day. So maybe you have some scenario where messages are sent maybe once per week, right? So then you don't have to worry about that, because robot will continuously be adding those messages, and those test cases, so the input and output, will be actually created. And you can see this on the right hand side, where for the particular interfaces you can see this whole list. Yeah, so as you said, this classification, right? I need to remember that word. On the left hand side, you have like all of the messages in different formats, right? XML, JSON, flat files, right? Robot is just taking them, and then it really classifies them to this particular subfolders. And thanks to this, you already know what kind of variations do you have, right? And really, only this, I would say, this feature allows us to save a lot of time, right? And within hours, you can build this testing. You can build this very extensive testing coverage based on the reliable, productive messages instead of spending like months, right? So this is why it's so important, right?
So now is the phase of migration to integration suite. Yeah. So we know that testing consumes 65% of time during this integration project. Yeah. And test automation that we are doing with the Shield Lite in this case, because we are using for SAP PO to Integration Suite Migration Shield Lite, which is free for 12 months. And this should shift the weight from testing to development, resulting in a better development quality and pace of the releases. Yeah, because you got some assumed time span when you need to deliver, and if you cut the time from one part, you should have more time for the other part. Yeah, so you can have more iterations and deliver a better quality of a solution. Yeah, and Int4 Shield allows test-driven development of SAP Integration Suite using PIPO data as a reference. Yeah, so what the robot collected from your current production environment, from your PO, now it will be used as the input for test-driven development for your Integration Suite migration. And Int4 Shield allows you to kind of change those PIPO test cases into Integration Suite test cases with one click within a second. Yeah? So you are gathering the data on your current environment, and what is expected outcome. Int4 Shield should allow you to change those PIPO test cases into Integration Suite test cases. Yeah? So you will be able to use them on your Integration Suite instantly. And how it's done? Yeah, when the robot gather the test cases, we need to validate them. So from migration cockpit, you can click on run PO tests, and that will give you the results. Yeah, so your test evidence that the test cases you gathered, you test them through PO. The inputs are the same, outputs are the same. So you know that what you have now is a correct examples. Yeah, and you can move forward. So simply, you can click on Migrate, then assign existing iFlow. It can be already made iFlow, like development finished, but I would suggest that you do it as soon as possible. You got iFlow created, you got input, output, nothing inside, or you just migrated this using the automatic migration tool that SAP will deliver. You are assigning it here, and what Int4 Shield is doing for you, it will create a test configuration that we are calling automation object in our Int4 language, and it will migrate all the test cases from PIPO to your Integration Suite test cases. So by clicking this migrate, assigning iFlow, job is done. Now you got the CPI test cases that are ready to run on your CPI environment.
I just wanted to say that that's very important step that we are testing all the data that we have collected, right? Because we need to have this evidence that the messages that we have collected, that they are really reliable data. Of course, when you take the messages from production, that's very very likely to be like this, right? But yeah, this is what I wanted to mention.
Yeah, sure. So for us, the current SAP PIPO data is the best source of truth. Yeah, because we would like to have a transparent migration of the integration platform. Yeah, whatever goes in will go in, whatever goes out will go out. Yeah, so if we gather those informations from the current system and we create exactly same test cases out of this data, yeah, so we will push same payloads that we are pushing towards PO, we will push them to Integration Suite. Yeah, and we expect that what is going out from Integration Suite will be exactly the same that is going from the PO. And easy conversion of those is a key, because this will allow you the test-driven development. Yeah, so imagine you are assigned to migrate the scenario A. Yeah, you just created the like a shell of the iFlow. You got the name, you got input, outputs, and you can push the message there. Yeah, so whenever you are in the middle of creating your mapping, yeah, or content modifier, or you are changing something, you got many examples from your current production system that you can use as a developer. And this should increase the quality of a development really high. And of course, if the development quality is high, then we got less issues, less incidents in the further testing steps.
Yes, and what maybe it's important to now add, right? So we know what is the scope, right? We know how to define it. We prepare that because robot collected all the messages from the PO. Then in the last step, Michał shown you how to migrate the collected messages from PO to Integration Suite, because somehow we need to know how to which iFlow they should be sent, right? And now actually it brings us to the topic where we will be actually testing migrated PO interface with the migrated test cases, right? And what is important, right? When you run and when you are going through the migration projects, right? On the very high level, you need to know where you are during this process, right? So you need to have the daily reports with all the summary there, so that you know that, okay, maybe now we migrated like maybe 50% of the interfaces, but only, let's say, 40 of them are working correctly. We still need to work on those 10, right? Then the second thing that is, I would say, very important is that you follow the continuous test-driven development, as Michał already mentioned, right? As long as you have some defects, and you need to make sure that even if you migrated the interface number one, right, you tested that successfully, you need to make sure that in the middle of the journey, right, you will still be testing this first interface that you migrated, because maybe during the course of the project that you are doing, maybe something just happened, maybe some shared mapping was changed, and now it's actually affecting this first interface that was working fine, right? So it's important to just to always extend this testing library, right? And this brings us to another topic, that usually when you have to run and re-execute the same test cases over and over again, this is very tedious and repetitive task, right? That should be really automated. So I will try to show you all of those things, how you can do that in the tool, right, in the solution. So you probably remember this cockpit, right, where Michał was executing that for PO interfaces, right? So directly next to this button, you have another button, run on SAP Integration Suite. When you run this button, all of the test cases gathered and migrated for that particular PO, gathered for PO and migrated to iFlow, will be executed. And once this is done, you will have the test result, and the test results will give you will have the overall test result that you can see on the top, and then you will see also all of the test cases that have been executed, and you will have the specific status for that particular variation, right? Because maybe from 20 test cases, like 10 will be passing, but with other 10, you will have some issues. And then you can just go into the ones with the issues. You can go into the details, where you can see, first of all the information about the iFlow that is now being used. You can see also the message that was generated, but what is even more important, you can always get back to this results, right? So even if I will follow the same example, right? Let's say that you were working with this one interface and iFlow, and it was working correctly, but let's say maybe after 2 weeks it will break. You can really track this, so immediately you will see how actually this specific test case status was changing during the course of the project, right? And then I think if you will come to the juice of this testing, right, you can directly see in the particular test case results what is actually the field that is missing, right? So Michał was he was describing the process that you are sending the same input message, right? And on the left hand side we have the output generated from the PO, right, when the robot collected everything. But on the right hand side we have actually, in this example, the XML, the output of the iFlow that we migrated, right? So you can immediately see where you have this issue, so you don't need to manually compare it, right? Everything is compared, XML, JSON, flat files, all file types are being compared, and then you can just directly jump to the integration configuration. You can change whatever is needed. And what we have, I believe, highlighted already several times, right? This continuous testing is important, right? Because even if you will look at this slide, and you will see that at the bottom, all of the test cases, so 18 test cases from 18 were failing, right? Then actually in the third run, we came to the state where almost all test cases for the particular interfaces were working. But we still have some issues with those two, right? And when you are migrating more and more PO interfaces to CPI flows, right? Then you are just extending this number of test cases, right? And you can see how this journey looks like, right? So here you will have the overall report of all the test cases execution after the migration. And I think this is really really helpful. So just to sum it up, right? You are already familiar with this top picture, right? Where we collected everything, and now during the test cases execution on the integration suite, the robot, because all the test cases can be also executed in the background, right? All of the messages are injected, so the same input messages that we collected from original PO messages are injected on the integration suite, and the output PO is compared with the output of the integration suite, right? And then in case of any discrepancy, you can actually see everything. Yeah, so I believe that we have shown you all of the steps from the roadmap, right? So Michał, can we maybe sum it up, how actually the challenges were solved by this approach?
So most importantly, I believe from our perspective, is using our robot and our Int4 Shield, you are increasing test coverage. Yeah. So as Mateusz explained, you are not testing with some few messages that you think they will be good for testing. Yeah. You are testing with hundreds or thousands of messages that you know are good because they are running on your current production system and they are supporting your current business. So you can be sure that whatever there is a true, yeah, it's valid and it's working. So you should aim for the same where you will be on the new platform.
Yeah, the next thing, so the dependency that is removed from the functional and business teams, that's also possible because thanks to the fact that we are comparing output of like hundreds or thousands of the interfaces, both inbound and outbound, right? We can really make sure that what was the subject to change is really working in the same way, right? So then you can really say that, okay, I changed the engine, but it's still working in exactly the same way.
Mm-hmm. And that is allowing you to lower cost and risk of migration. Yeah. And for me, cost and risk, they are really entangled, yeah, together, because if you are reducing the risk, you are reducing the cost. Yeah. Because if you are reducing the risk, you are like removing the future issues, you are speeding up the releases, you are also more sure that there will be no issues and no incidents after go live, like with the reference with from Amnesty. Yeah, they say that there was zero post go live issues. Yeah, because of using of Int4 Shield. So for me, this is also a really a key factor.
Yeah, and the next thing, so we can really detect issues even on our development system, right? Because we can run the messages. If you have several tenants, then you can run that on the test, dev first, then on the test, right? So you can reuse the same test cases on different environments. And thanks to the fact that you have those testing library that is consisting of the reliable messages, right? Then you really minimize this risk of the human error that maybe you prepared manually payload in the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I would like to add on this summary that is really crucial for us for you to get this message is that Int4 Shield Lite, that is the version specifically for migrating from your PIPO to Integration Suite is the free for 12 months. Okay, so as we said, all those points we discussed on the previous slide, basically they are saying the value is in time. Yeah, we are tackling the 65% of this project. We are reducing this time. So in our world, the world of IT, if something is faster, quicker, and more reliable, it's cheaper.
Yeah, and definitely you can much quicker land in the productive environment, right? So the time to market is really reduced. And for me, as the person who really did also a lot of projects like the developer, I believe that Michał, with you, it will be the same feeling that it really allows me to focus on the things that are important, on communication with external parties when we are in the further phases of the project, on actually making sure that the day-to-day operations are also done properly, right? Because we can use the robot to collect the test cases, we can use the robot to run them continuously, right? So all the boring things or the tedious things can be outsourced to the robot. Yeah, that's very important.
And we are finishing here. Yeah, so
yeah, so we are in the clouds, hopefully successfully. Maybe we have some scratches, but at the end, that's something that we would like to wish to all of you guys, so that you will overcome challenges, you will choose the path that is right to you, right for you, and yeah, you will be in the cloud.